Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, and it gets about 50,000 to 20,000 patients a year. The Hemp and Cannabis Foundation is the one place people will go to apply for a medical marijuana card. At this clinic, the doctor who approves the most applications is Sandra Camacho Otero.
That doesn't surprise me, really. I mean, I know that Dr. Camacho is here working full-time, 40 hours a week, basically.
Paul Stanford is the founder of the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation. He says since they've been open, the clinic has seen more and more patients.
We've grown at about 50% a year since 2003.
Dr. Sandra Camacho Otero declined an on-camera interview, but told me over the phone that she sees about 30 to 40 patients a day. The majority of those people, she says, suffers from chronic pain.
We screen all of our patients. We don't set an appointment for a patient unless we have medical records that are less than 3 years old.
Some say it's easy to get a medical marijuana card, but Camacho Otero says she screens the patients carefully. She says she meets with them to talk about their history and see if they qualify. They must have also sought other conventional treatments and meet the guidelines set by the state before she authorizes anything.
You don't have to get high to get the medicinal relief from cannabis.
According to the Portland Tribune's article, the top 3 doctors who authorize marijuana cards are Sandra Camacho Otero with 8,760 patients. In second and far behind Camacho Otero was Jeanette Pacey with just over 2,600 patients. And Daryl George had just about 2,000 patients. But Stanford says there's a reason Camacho Otero has signed the most.
We have the largest client base in the state, and so she's our primary doctor in Oregon. She's here 5 days a week.
Now groups like Oregon NORML and THCF are trying to get an initiative on the ballot to try and legalize marijuana. And along with this clinic, Stanford owns and runs 6 medical marijuana clinics in 9 states. He says those clinics have approved more than 110 people to get their medical marijuana cards. You can read more about this in tomorrow's Portland Tribune. Reporting live from Southeast Portland tonight, Andrew Padula, the 10 o'clock news.
To this day, Mick Jagger has to jump through a few hoops when he enters the United States. It involves drugs and his conviction a long time ago.
You only had one law problem, right? A marijuana thing that you weren't convicted, right?
Yeah,
you were never convicted.
I think I was. It's such a long time ago. I think I was. Every time I come to the United States, I still have to sort of go to the special place.
Really?
Yeah, even though it's 40-something years ago. Yeah, the marijuana conviction. Yeah.
Really?
I have to go into the
room.
You
have to report?
Yeah, well, you can't go through the immigration line. So sometimes if there's someone that knows something about how to deal with it, they can do it, but normally I have to go to a special room.
Do you think Lenny Bruce once said it'll be legal someday because every law student I know smokes it?
Yeah, but that never happened.
No.
But it's sort of half happened, hasn't it, in legal to grow.
Do you think it should?
Well, the whole question of legalizing drugs is fraught with someone asked me this the other day, and I said, well, you know, I don't know if I got into trouble because I think, but you know, usually you try these things out in very small places. You know, like, so you try this in, you know, like you try a new product out in a small kind of society or an island somewhere. And in England, they always try out new mobile phones in the Isle of Man. So they've got a captive society. So I said you should try the legalization of all drugs on the Isle of Man and see what happens. You know, I don't know what would happen.
Do you think it'll ever happen? Ever?
It might do, ever a long time. People, you know, there's certainly, you know, human beings seem to have a propensity to want to take drugs in some form. You know, for thousands of years, people have taken drugs. You know, whether it's like alcohol, which was invented, what, 5,000 years ago. People have been using that, and all kinds of marijuana and all these things, tobacco, I don't know how many thousands of years. Long time, I'm sure. And so all these drugs have, you know, it seems to be the propensity of human beings to want to use them. So you have to, I think you have to take that as read, you know. But then what do you do when it affects so many people's lives in not a good way, you know? And then also then you get a lot of violence at both ends of the scale. So you get violence in some countries producing country violence, and then you get, which like we have in Mexico now, and then you get violence at the other end of people trying to obtain drugs. So you got that part of it, that's the part that speaks to some civilization, because that you would hope would help the violence on both ends of the supply line.
When it was in the group and it was famously reported about Keith Richards and the like, did it ever affect your performance?
Probably.
You don't remember?
No, of course I remember. No, but you don't. I don't personally, like performing, taking drugs. I always think it's better to be not taking drugs or drinking or anything. But that's not saying I've never done it. Of course I have. But I sort of learned, I think, after a while that it was better. And it didn't take me that long to realise that it wasn't a good thing. And taking drugs on a recreational level is one thing, but taking them while you're working on a stage is, I don't think always such
control factor.
It's a control factor. And the thing about being on stage, you really want to feel that you're sort of in control a lot, I think, because I don't think it's not a place where you want to be out of control.
I'm a neighborhood pharmacist. I know the first names of the people coming through my door. I have clients that come in for specific things. Some things are very hard for me to grow, and yet I grow them continuously just because I know that I'm going to have a patient that's going to request that. There are no pure indicas or sativas anymore. Everything has been so changed and grown for specifics anymore as far as potency, flavor, taste, that people are just out there, at least good growers, are still experimenting and crossing strains and changing things to try to come up with the best possible medicine for each and every situation. Everything reacts to each person differently, and a lot of people need to actually shop around and try several different things until they find what works for them and in what situation. My business is this neighborhood. I know what you've been doing for the week. I know if you're in school. I know what you're here for. I try to basically be a pharmacist, just like any small-town neighborhood pharmacist would be.
We've got a fan.
Oh, crap!
Oh, this really sucks.
Listen, everybody be cool and put up your windows. We were probably just speeding. Let me do all the talking and everything will be fine. Got it?
Okay.
Troy, are you with me? Remember, let me do all the talking, all right?
You're the man.
Good afternoon, officer. Why'd you pull me over?
Do you know why I pulled you over?
I don't know, officer. That's why I asked.
You were speeding. I clocked you at 50. Could I see your license and registration, please?
No problem. Could you get my registration out of the glove box?
Daryl, do you know what the speed limit is on this road? The speed limit is 30. I clocked you at 50, which means you were going 20 miles per hour over the speed limit. Did you know that I could arrest you for driving that fast?
Officer, how can I help?
All right, I need everyone to step out of the car, please.
Why, officer?
Step out of the car now! Why'd you lock your car? Don't you think your car's safe here?
Habit. Are you detaining us, officer, or are we free to go now?
Mr. Borden, can I see your car keys, please?
Why?
Need to give your car a look to make sure you don't have anything you're not supposed to have. You don't have anything to hide, do you?
No, officer. Well, I don't consent to any searches, sir.
According to this registration, this isn't even your car. Is your name Mary?
This is my sister's automobile, sir. I'm sure she wouldn't want her car searched either, sir.
Look, smart guy. I want you to listen to me very closely. You have two choices. You can either make things better, or you can make things worse for yourself. If you cooperate with me, I'll help.